Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Sultan, and today we're going to be going through the Islamic Productivity Full Guide, or as I like to call it, how to maximize productivity as a man according to Islam and science based principles. Let's get straight into the overview. We're going to be covering what's productivity, why we should be productive as Muslims, how to be productive, like secret tips and tricks that has taken me 5 years to learn and master to the point where I used to do like 1 hour of work in like 2023. Now, alhamdulillah, I'm kicking about like 6 to 8, right? Bismillah, I'm pushing up to 8 of like deep focused cooking work, right? So I want to teach you guys this. Bismillah, it's gonna be beneficial. It's so important for us to be productive, especially as Muslims, as we'll get into right now. But just before we get into the video, first of all, I hope you have a good day, Bismillah. But also, if you want to join our private Discord server, or as I like to call it, the Majlis Network, which is what it's called, our network of young Muslim men on Islamic self-development. Bismillah, we have 3 calls a week. We talk all the time. It's a great atmosphere. It's only $5 a month. The price is increasing soon in the next few months as I release more stuff. So if you want to lock in your price of $5 a month to connect with your brothers, I just want to create a wall so that the ones who are actually serious can join. Also, we get special videos. We also have a lot of accountability. We post habit trackers every day. So if you want that stuff, bismillah, first thing in the description. It's going to be incredible. I'd love to see you guys there if you watch my videos. So let's get straight into it. What is productivity? The definition of productivity, let's start from first principles, is productivity is a measure of how efficiently a person, company, or country can convert inputs into outputs. Let's understand what this definition means. What it means as a foundation of productivity from its definitive purpose is number one, efficiency. We understand that productivity is something that has the highest quality at the highest speed. It is efficient. It's very good as fast as possible. Number two, inputs into outputs, i.e., doing stuff, right? So, what we understand from productivity is doing stuff at the highest quality at the highest speed. So, for example, let's say you're studying for a math exam. When we're studying for a math exam, to be productive, we must study at the highest quality possible, i.e., we must be able to retain the knowledge and apply the knowledge. And number two, we must study as fast as possible while maintaining the high quality. So the faster we can study while retaining and applying the knowledge correctly, the better we are at studying, the more productive we are at studying itself, right? So let's look at a productivity equation to understand anything being productive. So the fundamental equation to be productive is that productivity equals action times quality times speed. So let's apply this to anything. Let's say you want to be productive at reading Quran. So the action is reading Quran times by the quality, which means your recitation, your tajweed, your knowledge of the Quran and being a Qur'an, times by the speed, right? So this speed is how fast with the correct quality you get through the Quran. That's how productive you are at either memorizing, reciting the Quran. So if I have a lower quality and a lower speed of reading the Quran, I am less productive. I created a lesser product than you. So you can read more ayat at better pace. You are more productive than me at either reciting or more memorizing the Quran, right? Same thing can go for in terms of more secular tasks, for example, working. So we're gonna do more examples, but if I action, I work, i.e. I edit. So me edit and someone else edits, times by better quality times by speed. The person who edits with the most quality at the highest speed is the most productive. They created the most product. So the more quality and the more speed equals the more products created. So when we think about productivity, it's not about, we'll talk about this now, 12 hours, but to be more productive, you just do better things as fast as possible while maintaining the better thing. So we understand these two principles of quality and quantity, action. As fast, the idea on me. Quality and quantity, meaning how fast and how much you do. So let's give another example. Let's say you're making videos, right? For example, you're a YouTuber. Let's say we both make the same videos in the same niche. Let's say I make 10 videos and you make 5 videos, and the videos are equal in quality. The person who produced 10 videos versus 5 videos is more productive because he created more product, right? He got more outputs from inputs in the same time if the quality is the same. Now, somebody who makes 10 videos but the quality is poor and the speed is fast versus someone who makes 5 videos with a high quality as fast as possible, who's going to be more productive? Then you measure efficiency. you were not effective. You were fast, you were quick, but you were not efficient. You did not create something beneficial. That's why I don't post every single day, right? Because my videos, they take the amount of time I spend on 1 or 2 videos is the same time someone spends on 7. Therefore, my one video will be more quality as fast as possible, right? So focusing on those variables make you more productive. And so what I'm trying to get here at understanding productivity is that it's not about 12-hour days. Time is not the, do you see that time is not in the equation? It's not about the time. It's about the actions, the outputs. It's about doing these inputs as well as possible, as fast as possible, while maintaining that well, which equals the output. So if you did 3 hours of work a day, but you outputted more than me, you were more productive than me if I spent 12 hours. If I can study for a math exam and get the same mark as you, but I study for 3 hours, you study for 12 hours, I'm more productive. Because I got more or the same product with less time, because I studied at a higher quality at higher speed. Therefore, I could do more things, right? So the problem with productivity thinking of time is that we don't understand the point. The point is to create the product. So I was stuck in this for a long time making videos. I used to just think about hours worked, but then I started thinking now, let me show you. I started thinking now about product. See, this is the product. See, right now I'm recording 2, right? So technically I finished recording 1. When you focus on time times by the product, the output, that's when you're the most productive. So let's get straight back. So why should we even be productive as Muslims, right? Sorry for that. So let's look at the Quran. Allah Azza wa Jal says in Surah Asr, right? By time. Indeed, mankind is in loss, clear loss, except for those who have believed, done righteous deeds, and advised each other to the truth, and advised each other to patience. What do we learn from this surah? The benefits is, number 1, it teaches our default state. So at the default, humanity is in loss. So now we know where we are in terms of how life is. Okay, what do we do with understanding we're at loss? Then it gives us the framework to escape the loss, to be a winner, to be in the good, which is by believing, i.e. being a Muslim, having the correct aqidah, tawheed. Number 2, doing salihat, good deeds, good righteous acts, advising to the truth, i.e. calling to the truth and advising towards the truth, and yourself following the truth, Islam itself. And number 4, which is advising each other to patience. Patience meaning sabr in terms of your worship, sabr in terms of the hardships, and sabr in terms of sins. So to stay patient until Jannah, to do all these things. So these 4 things, belief, doing good deeds, calling towards the truth and following the truth, and calling towards patience and following patience, right? So what we understand from this is that it advises the need for maximizing our time, for making our time not in loss but in good, because the loss is the wrong way. We must do these 4 things to then be in the good space. Therefore, productivity is literally a Quranic command. And I mean, I'm not talking about secular productivity. I'm talking more about doing something with our lives, doing something good, creating a product from our lives, right? Because what we shouldn't do is be lost. We should change. That's the advice from Allah Azza wa Jal. I need to make this change, to spend time well, correctly, productively, creating a product from our lives. Now, what that product is following these 4 things. So definitely as a Muslim, we cannot just do nothing, right? But next, look at the Sunnah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked Allah himself in dua to protect him from incapacity and laziness, from cowardice and miserliness. So what do we understand from this dua? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Ya Allah, Allahumma, I seek refuge from you from worry and grief, from incapacity and laziness, from cowardice and miserliness, from being heavily in debt, and from being overpowered by other men. SubhanAllah. So what do we learn in this dua? First of all, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam teaches us the principle of being productive, i.e. in our life we should not just be lazy and incapacitated. We should not be in clear loss. We should do something. The opposite of laziness, being protected from laziness, is doing something, being active, being incapacity, doing something, having capacity. Next, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam teaches us the virtue of being independent and free from debt. Wealthily independent. We should not be in debt. We should not be asking, right? And so what necessitates not being in debt? Working, right? and not losing money, working. Even Rasulullah ﷺ has his own hadith where he teaches the man who was begging to go out. First of all, he says, what do you have at home? Right? Along these lines. What do you have at home? I have this bowl. He goes to the Sahaba, who's going to buy this bowl for 1 dirham? Someone says 1 dirham. He says, who's going to buy for 2? I think, it's silver cord. Dirham. Yeah, dirham is silver, right? Dirham, right? Then he said, okay, take 1, keep it. 1, buy an axe. Then he takes the axe. He says, go to the trees, cut the trees, which is the hard work in the desert, by the way. So he does the work. He does all this hard work. He said, don't let me see you. Meaning go to work, grind, right? So this concept of doing something, even in terms of risk, in terms of, like Allah Azza wa Jalla is speaking more in terms of deen. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in his sunnah and his dua is speaking a lot about deen and dunya, right? Next, he teaches us the virtue of strength. Therefore, if you have an intention to follow this dua and follow Rasulullah sunnah, Rasulullah used to wrestle men, overpower them. He was never overpowered. He's a warrior. So where did we lose this? So we're not supposed to be fat and incapacitated. We should learn how to fight. We should learn how to not be overpowered by other men. May Allah grant us to us. Inshallah, we should do this dua every day. May Allah grant us the tawfiq. But the point is, as Muslim men, we should be productive. This is the principles we understand. We should do something with our lives. And that something is in the deen, it's in the dunya, and it's also in terms of being stronger. The strength. So there is benefit in all these things. And we must follow the guidance of Allah Azza wa Jal and the principles taught by His Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. A Muslim man should not drift through life doing nothing. Because we have deen obligations, dunya things to do, benefits in dunya. We should not be a beggar. We should do something. We should be men who aren't incapacitated, who aren't lazy. We're either, when you look at Sahaba, the Sahaba were either working, like Umar ibn Khattab, he was either working or he was going to seek knowledge. And he had that agreement with another Sahabi, right? About, you one day, you go seek knowledge, I'm going to work. Then you go work, I seek knowledge. Look at Umar ibn Khattab. Even as a Khalifa, he was always doing something. He was never doing nothing, right? And so we understand now as Muslims, we got to create products in our lives. We know what it is. We know why we should do it. Now, how do we become more productive? I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to do this in 15 minutes. So, how do we be more productive? Productivity for a Muslim man is simple. To control your time, protect your attention, and install a system, and of course, some tips and tricks to make productivity and focus much easier. The first step is to take control of your time. The most important resource you have is your attention. Remember what Allah Azza wa Jal said. He swears by time, right? Wal asr. Indeed, mankind is in clear loss, meaning within the time. They're at loss in this time, unless they do something. So, we must control that attention, that time. It's not our money, it's not our motivation. Attention plus time is our power or our potency, our ability to do something. Most men lose this immediately to Netflix, garbage YouTube. Not educational YouTube like this. Well done for you, Allah Mabarak, for sticking through. Probably about 10% of people get to this point, by the way. Next, doom scrolling and instant dopamine. Right? You can't enter ghost mode if the dunya owns your attention, akhi. You can't go, like Rasulullah said, don't let me see you. If we are there at the point of begging, we must go away. We must start being productive, right? So to reclaim it and implement this ability to be productive, we need these 3 tools, okay? The first one is the wall map, okay? This is something new that I've been doing, which is basically a yearly macro plan. You could do this on Google Calendar. You can do this on a physical calendar. I wish I could show you mine. I physically have, those calendars that, I know my grandfather uses it, right? That's why I have it. The I don't think you can see my mirror. You can't. So not that type of calendar. I mean like a physical yearly calendar, right? And what you do is you map out all your work projects, all your academic projects, meaning self-academic projects, like what books you want to read, what courses you want to do by yourself outside of school, outside of uni, right? Your training cycles, when you cut, when you bulk, right? Your dean studies, so what subjects you're going to study throughout the year, all your major transformations or milestones, things that you want to change in your life, right? But the reason I'm saying this is personally, I've had this problem with productivity where I haven't had macro direction. I've always been someone who changes a lot between the year, which there is benefit in. However, without macro direction, you're going to be a little bit directionless. You'll make progress, but not towards anything really meaningful, right? So I've made progress, but I've made progress like this. But we don't have to do that. A lot of people say that success is like this, right? Or like achieving is like this. It doesn't have to be. If you set the target and you put the bowling lines and you set the boundaries and you cannot move past, you can only do in this direction, you will go forward. You will drive forward because there's no distraction. If you say, I'm going to bulk for 3 months of the year, you're not going to cut. So whatever happens, you're either going to bulk or not going to bulk, but you're not going to be distracted. So you're likely going to follow the bowling lines that you put in yourself. So think of this war map or this macro control. I wish I'd put a photo of it. Be the next time I want to do when I explain this. As like a bowling map. Sorry, the bowling lines in a bowling line, right? To keep those like any thingies. We'll talk about it. Like, you know, a horse has their blinders. You got the same thing. So I want you to get that yearly map, whether it's on Google Calendar, since 2026 is coming up. But I want you to pre-plan the Islamic classes you're going to be studying. Go and look at all of the subjects and say, for the next 3 months, I'm finishing all these durus. That's the only way, alhamdulillah, I finished my seerah durus. I said, I'm not going to stop until I finish this. Imagine if I just kept switching. I would never have finished it. Walillah alhamd, right? By the tawfiq of Allah. Same thing with you and me. Bidnillah, I'm going to do that soon. For me, I pre-planned when I build my course, right? So right now, every day, there is a weekly explanation until Ramadan, alhamdulillah, of what I have to do to complete all the courses I need to create for the next year. Not all of them, but most of them, right? I have to create 25 courses in a span of 2 months. So without macro planning, I will have no clue how to get through it. I will be so focused on the inside, I won't have a macro vision. And so that has been so effective for me for the past 2 weeks of using this macro vision. I've been so much more aligned to the objectives to get to the end. And that's what benefited me. You can do pre-planning, bulking, and cutting cycles. Like I said, I still have to do that, bi'idhnillah. I think actually to help with this, get multiple calendars. So you can get these type of calendars. You see that one? To do like bulking and dean studies, academic projects. You can basically go online and print them out. You don't have to pay for it. But to get a macro one to focus on your work or uni can be very beneficial. Kind of like at school, we used to have the projected, what's it called? The timetable for projects, right? That really helped us, right? And it's also pre-planned semesters, milestones, Ramadan prep, etc. inside this year. So imagine if you had an entire picture for the entire year of what you need to do with every single one of the parts of your life. You would be much more direction focused instead of going in 7 different ways. Do you understand? So bi'idhnillah, I'm going to try this year. I'm going to report back, but it's been so beneficial right now. So transformation comes from knowing what you're going to do in February, June, November. Businessmen, business people, I've seen their videos. They already know what they're doing by the time it's January 2027. They already know. Like, that's the level of like rigid lines they put on themselves. And we got to follow that principle as well. Same thing with bodybuilders. Same thing with MMA. Now, all these MMA fighters already know when their training camp is. They know when they're fighting next year in October, for example. They already know their fight card. They know when they're going to do the training camp. They already know when they have to lock in, right? That's because they know. Imagine if an MMA guy is like, oh, we're going to start training camp tomorrow. What? I don't know when we're going to do training camp. And I don't know when the fight is. They're never going to actually be prepared, right? So we have to follow in that. And so, like I said, I've done that thing. Bi'idhnillah. This is real macro control. This is real productivity. Because now we know what products we need macro effect. Bi'idhnillah. Next, the schedule, which is micro control. So the macro is the direction. But the schedule is the daily discipline going to that direction. So, right, and I'm not going to lie to you, I did take this from my ghost video, but it's the same principles. I don't want to write it out, okay? I'm going to be honest with you. That's why it says ghost mode day. So, which actually follows the productivity I taught there. But your daily schedule must include the 5 pillars of ghost mode day or productivity, ultimately, as a Muslim. It's the same 5 frameworks. The first one is deen. Second one is train. The third one is work or uni. And the third one is learn. And the fourth one is learn. The fifth one is seek knowledge. And that's it. Right? In terms of being productive, there's no free time. There's no doom scrolling. There's no random chatting. There's none of this wasting time. There's just 5 blocks of things to do 5 to 6 days a week. That's being productive, truly, in terms of your daily life, right? And I know this may sound very harsh, but the only way you're truly going to make a productive change is by going all in to a point and being a little bit, I wouldn't say extreme, but yani focused. So the secret in terms of being productive, in terms of weekly, is throughout the week you have these bursts of just doing these 5 things, right? So whether that's in terms of deen, you're praying, you have time to go to the masjid. Training, you have time to go to the gym. Work or uni, you have time to do work blocks for a business or online work that you're working on. To bi'idhnillah do hijrah. And of course, bi'idhnillah get married. And uni work blocks, learning in terms of secular knowledge. and seeking knowledge. Every single day you should have these 5 things done. This is the 5 things we do in the Majlis Network, where we have our little habit trackers, right? But to be able to do that 5 times a day, no wasting time, all you do is these things. Not 5 times a day, I mean 5 times a week. You use weekends to avoid burnout. So what you do on weekends is you sleep more, you eat whatever food you want, you see your family the whole time, spend time with them, go out with them, you can play video games, you can recharge, right? And that is what's going to make you really productive. So we talked about the macro control, micro control, which is schedule 5 times a week, and then the weekend, which is going to get you the ability to rest and come back and grind during the week, right? So I don't want to show you my schedule because I don't want to tell you what I do, but I basically do the exact same thing. I put all the, I'm not going to say shurud, but like principles of these things in my daily day, right? So right now it's work time. I'm almost going to, bi-idhnillah, go to the gym, right? And then after that I have some more work time, and then I'm going to do reading, etc. It's the same thing without rest, right? Bi-idhnillah. And in the weekends I recharge, I rest. I literally just had a weekend, it was great, but now I'm grinding, bro, pushing all in. So you go all in and then you go out. So that focus, consistency versus the explosive effort is what helps a lot. And I know perhaps if you watch the Going Ghost video, I am saying the same thing, but the reason I'm repeating this is the fundamental truths of being productive. If you don't implement these things, it's not going to help you. I'm telling you, I implemented for years. It's incredible. So the next thing is your habit tracker, right? So we talked about macro drive for productivity, micro discipline for productivity. But what about feedback loops, accountability? So the way that we instill this habit tracker, which is going to help you be productive and force you into accountability. Because it's very easy to have a macro plan without discipline. Now we implement the discipline. Now we have the discipline of every single day what we have to do. What about when we don't do it? What is the negative feedback loop to force us to do it? And so basically what we do, let me show you. I'm going to show you again. We'll get mine. Okay, here. This is a habit tracker. So what we do to ensure that we do things very beneficially is that we literally just draw. You see these 5 things we spoke about? Deen, training, work, / uni, you learn or seek ilm. And what you do is you either take a notebook, you can take a Google Docs, you can put it in the majlis, by the way, first link in the description. You could do that, and bi-idhnillah azza wa jal, you get the ability to actually accountability with people, but you can also do accountability by yourself for free. So you could check this out. You basically create these little boxes of those 5 things, and then you tick and cross when you do something or when you don't do something. I'm telling you, getting these red crosses, I don't even want to show you guys these red crosses because it looks so pretty when it's all green, right? It gets very annoying when it's X'd. So bismillah, it's going to create a good feedback loop. I even had brother Yasin in the Majlis Network. He said something like having this accountability of the habit tracker with everyone, it made me want to do more when I was lazy to not do it. And the same thing happened for me, not in terms of riyah, may Allah protect our intentions, but in terms of like not being a hypocrite to the identity we want to build. Right? And when you see this in your life, you can see every day if you did what you said you were going to do. Right? This becomes a great proof for discipline as well. But ultimately, it gives you feedback loops to force yourself to be productive during the week. And in that week, it forces you to be productive during the year. So this is how you build a true framework of being productive all the time. I'm telling you, this has changed my life. Walillah alhamd. Step 2 is brown noise. As Muslims, we can't listen to lo-fi or classical music to focus, right? And if anyone listens to music to focus, it just doesn't work. Scientifically, it doesn't make sense. But if you're like me, of course, as a Muslim, I can't focus with nothing, right? It's almost impossible for me to lock in if I'm not secluded, if I'm not in my personal bubble, if no one distracts me, if they come. Hey guys, I'm gonna keep this in. Okay. If I don't have my own personal bubble and I don't have the ability to be like silent, there's no noises, there's no random distractions, that messes me up. And what I found finally fixed the ability for me to not only just like click into deep work mode, which we're going to talk about, but like kind of like in the horse race, they put like blinders on a horse so they only see further in front, so they don't get distracted by their sides and get scared, etc. They just focus on going forward. That is what we want to do with ourselves. And putting brown noise with headphones that creates that bubble, or white noise, etc. It blocks out my thoughts that I normally have, the distractions, the background noise. It's almost like the blinds of a horse, like I said, right? For Muslim men, that brown noise is the halal cheat code to create that funnel tunnel vision so that you don't let the dunya pull you away from what you need to do. And step three is deep work, right? This is the stuff I use. I literally just did it to make this, right? Step three is deep work. So this is a framework of doing higher quality work in less time, i.e., being more productive. We're following the equation of productivity by forcefully instilling its principles and foundations. So we want to do better work in less time, thereby increasing the intensity of your focus to do so and increasing your productivity. So how do we implement deep work? You all probably know what it is, but it's basically just focused work without distraction. But how do we implement it? So we should block our tasks or our work blocks from 1.5 to 2 hour intervals. Sorry for 1.2. And then we must set one specific task for each block. This is something that a lot of people mess up with deep work. I used to have deep work schedule without any specific tasks, and that creates a lot of confusion. So then you can easily be swayed. But when you have a specific deadline to complete a specific tasks, it removes that confusion, which removes the indecisiveness and confusion, which increases your productivity because you know exactly what to do and you have to finish at a certain time, which creates a level of motivation to complete that because everything is blocked out. You have to complete it in a certain time frame or everything is going to fall apart. That way, you can do as much as possible by forcing yourself to do more quality in faster time. So, what you need to do in deep work block is do those blocks, but also remove your distractions, especially your phone. Take your phone. This is what I did for 9 months so that I could get rid of this addiction of like clicking my phone and stuff. You get your phone, you put it in a box or a bag, and you either leave it at the top of your cupboard or you leave it in a different room. And then you can enter your deep focus block by putting those brown noises, right? Following your schedule and your macro plan, and you'll be super productive, bi'idhnillah. And when the block finishes, you take 10-minute break, go to the toilet, I like drinking coffee, right? And then you just go again. And that's how you can do this boring stuff. So we spoke about how to organize and have a way to be productive, what we're going to do, and how to reinforce that productivity. We then spoke about how to kind of shock yourself into deep work mode as fast as possible with brown noise, keep yourself away from the distractions. And then we spoke about what we need to do in actually being productive by giving ourselves deep work blocks with specific tasks. And this is exactly how you can be productive, bi'idhnillah, from Quran to reading to working to seeking knowledge, everything you can use these applications, and bi'idhnillah, you will be so much more productive than everyone else, bi'idhnillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. But just before I go, by the way, bi'idhnillah azza wa jal, if you want to join us on this journey, our private Discord server for this channel, the Majlis Network, and for an incredible group of brothers, bro. Incredible group. For just $5 a month is so little, and the price is gonna go up in the next few months. Lock in your price at $5 a month today, bro. You're going to join our group. It's going to be great. You're going to increase your accountability. We have a habit tracker every single day. We call multiple times a week. It's just a great vibe. If you're a brother on self-development who's a Muslim, bi'idhnillah, join in the first thing in the description. And if you want to watch some more videos about increasing productivity and discipline, you can check my free course I made here for you guys. It's called the Deen-Driven Development course. You're going to learn all the foundations of Islamic self-development according to the Quran, Sunnah, and science-based principles. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.